All right, let's talk about one of the most classic questions in business, one that actually pops up everywhere, from huge companies all the way down to your own kitchen. It's this: when should you make something yourself, and when should you just go out and buy it?
Just think about your lunch. Should you make it at home or grab it from a cafe? If you make it, yeah, each meal is probably cheaper, but you've got to buy all the groceries up front. If you buy it, there's no upfront cost, but every single lunch costs you more. Well, that's the exact same logic businesses use, just on a much, much bigger scale.
To really see how this plays out, let's dive into a classic dilemma. We're going to look at a big question for a restaurant manager.
So here's the setup. You've got the manager of a fast food place, right? They're famous for their burgers, but they want to add salads to the menu. Now, they have two ways they could do this. And here's the key. For you, the customer, the price is going to be exactly the same no matter what. So the real question for the manager is, which way is actually going to make them more money?
This whole decision boils down to two completely different paths, and each one has its own financial roadmap. It's the classic choice. Do we make it or do we buy it?
Okay, so on one side, they can make the salads right there in the restaurant. This means putting in a whole new salad bar, new equipment, which has some pretty high upfront costs. But once all that is set up, each salad is super cheap to put together. On the other side, they can just buy pre-made salads from a supplier. This path has way lower upfront costs, but the price they pay for every single salad they sell is higher.
And this is where we get into the nitty-gritty numbers. To make the salads, we'll call that process 1, it's a $12,000 fixed cost for all the equipment. But then, it's only $1.50 in variable costs for each salad. Now to buy them, that's process 2, the fixed cost is just $2,400 for storage, but each salad costs them $2. So, which one is better? Well, it all depends on one crucial thing.
And that, right there, brings us to the deciding factor. Because it turns out there is a magic number of salads that makes this whole complicated decision incredibly simple.
And the answer is actually hidden right here on this graph. See these lines? They show the total cost for both options depending on how many salads they sell. The red line, that's the cost of making them. The blue line is the cost of buying them. And the secret to our whole problem, it's right there, right where those two lines cross.
That crossing point has a special name. It's called the break-even point. This is the exact quantity, the exact number of salads where the total cost to make them is completely identical to the total cost to buy them. If you sell less than this number, one option is cheaper. If you sell more, the other one is. It is, quite literally, the point of indifference.
Okay, so that's great in theory, but how do we find that exact point without just, squinting at the graph? Let's move on and actually crunch the numbers to solve this puzzle once and for all.
Now this might look a little intense at first, but I promise you, this simple formula is everything we need. It's really just a little bit of division. Let me break it down for you.
It's just a 3-step process. Super simple. First, we find the difference in those big one-time fixed costs. So that's $12,000 minus $2,400, which gets us $9,600. Step 2, we find the difference in the per salad or variable costs. So $2 minus $1.50, that's 50 cents. And for the final step, you just divide that first number by the second.
And boom, that gives us our magic number, 19,200. That is our break-even quantity. This one number holds the key to this entire decision.
So we have our number, 19,200. Let's use it to get to the final verdict and figure out what our manager should actually do.
The entire decision, everything we've talked about, now comes down to this one simple question. Does the manager think the restaurant will sell more or less than 19,200 salads?
And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. Management did their homework, they ran the numbers, and they expect to sell 25,000 salads.
So let's just put it all together. Their expected demand of 25,000 is clearly, well, it's way greater than our break-even point of 19,200.
And that makes the final verdict crystal clear. Make the salads. Because they plan on selling such a high volume of them, it's way cheaper in the long run to make that big investment up front and then pay less for every single salad they sell.
So why does all this matter beyond our burger joint? The big takeaway here is really simple. If you expect a high volume of something, it's usually cheaper to make it. If you expect a low volume, it's usually cheaper to buy it. And this exact same logic is used for huge decisions, like in software development, in manufacturing cars, and yeah, you can even apply it to your own life. Like figuring out if you should buy that fancy coffee machine or just keep going to the local cafe.
And that leaves us with one final thought.
Now that you have this tool in your back pocket, what's the next make or buy decision that you could solve?